It's tough to go out there and see how we fight and compete, and to have a game like that taken from us. And I'm never, ever one to blame a ref, to blame an official. I could say we could have done more, but this is getting out of hand. You know, there have been games like this that we've won. There have been games like this that we've lost. But this whole refereeing stuff and the way we're nice, we don't complain, we don't get frustrated. You know, we fight through things. And the fact that we just continually get screwed in a way by this, you know, like we won this game, in my personal opinion, you know, but like I said, I'm gonna give them credit. They won, whatever, cool. But like, this is it's a consistent thing. And, you know, the question is, can we do it? Can we sustain it? Are we for real number one? Like, yeah, the hell we are. And it's getting ridiculous, KK, that this is what's happening. You know what I mean? We have a whole second half of the season to go and get ready for, but like, I'm sick of it. To be honest with you, we all are, you know, and I think this is something that just, it eats me. It eats at me, man. And it's, I don't, y'all know what it is. We all know what it is, but it's really getting out of hand. It's really, really, really getting out of hand.
Feels like that all-star bonus might be allocated elsewhere. Possibly a fine coming from the league offices critical of the officiating. Taking a look at MVP'd. Gotta love that from our graphics team. It's his 5th game this season, as we said, with 40-plus points, 10-plus rebounds, leads the NBA. As a matter of fact, it's more than the rest of the NBA. It's also his 9th career game with 40 and 15-plus, most by a Sixer in the three-point era. Joel humming right along in an all-star and possible MVP effort thus far this season. With more on tonight's marquee matchups in the association, let's welcome in the coach, Avery Johnson. Coach, always a pleasure, as was the action tonight. Top seeds in each conference meeting between the Jazz and the Sixers. What a finale to the first half it was. Led by 40 points, 19 boards out of Joel Embiid, the Sixers make a statement. Coach, there's an understandable hesitation when we talk about this 76ers squad. They've fallen short in the past, but tonight was a complete effort. Did that look like a potential title contender to you?
It did look like a potential title contender, and it's mainly because of Joel Embiid. You know, you have a center with the Hakeem Olajuwon footwork and Tim Duncan finesse, scoring ability. You know, he can also shoot the three-point shot, obviously. He's a guy that can put a team on his back and lead them to an NBA championship. And now you also have Ben Simmons at his natural position. He's a 6'9" point guard. He never was a power forward. That experiment failed last year. So give Doc Rivers credit for getting Ben Simmons back in his natural position. And then Doc Rivers did something else that was really noted. He traded for his son-in-law, Seth Curry, to provide some three-point shooting prowess from behind the three-point line that spreads the floor. It gives Simmons and Embiid more room to operate. And I was really impressed by Tobias Harris, especially in that overtime where he scored 11 of their points in overtime.
Yeah, and if Tobias Harris was the constant there in overtime, the Jazz were the inconsistency. On the other end, it was very uncharacteristic, the implosion in overtime by the Jazz. Donovan Mitchell loses his cool a little bit, gets the early shower. A couple hard fouls there out of frustration. I don't want to make something out of nothing, Coach, but do you have any concern with the way that this Jazz team handled themselves down the stretch on Wednesday night?
I'm not really concerned. I mean, this team's got the best record in the NBA. They're playing at a high level. Unfortunately for them, they probably should have fouled Embiid when the clock was winding before he stepped back and shot the three. So he forced the game into overtime. So they made some mistakes down the stretch. You can't complain about the referees. Anytime the word referees come out of your mouth, unless you're saying something positive, then you're going to be in trouble. So if his family was thinking about flying private to the All-Star weekend, probably gonna have to fly coach, because he's gonna have to allocate some of those funds for a fine.
Yeah, a couple bills coming the way of Mr. Mitchell. Elsewhere, James Harden made quite the triumphant return to H-Town, a triple-double in the homecoming effort. Coach, 8 triple-doubles since joining Brooklyn. He's only played in 23 games as a Brooklyn Net, and he's got 8 triple-doubles. He's got a willingness to do whatever's asked of him right now. Is it about time that we start putting some MVP respect on this man's name as well?
Oh, absolutely. And it's starting to look a little bit better than his MVP year when he won 65 games with the Rockets. You know, they end up losing in the Western Conference Finals. Obviously, he was teammates with Chris Paul. But the difference this year is how James is passing the ball and getting more assists. He's rebounding the ball. He was pretty anemic on the defensive end when he played for the Rockets. Now he's competitive on the defensive end. He's not a defensive liability anymore. And it's beyond amazing, especially because, he's scoring, he's assisting, but he's not turning the ball over at a high level for somebody that handles the ball and has such a high efficiency at the point guard position. Thank you, Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do when he gets arguably the best player in the world, or at least the most proficient scorer in the world, back in the fold in the second half, and Kevin Durant. Going to be a joy to watch. The action tonight, it was filled with championship caliber talent between the Nets, the Jazz, and the Sixers. We laid our eyes on 3 teams with championship designs on Wednesday night. Doesn't have to be one of those 3, Coach, but as we head to the second half, who's made the biggest impression on you thus far?
Well, the Phoenix Suns. It doesn't have to be those 3, the Phoenix Suns for sure. I mean, this team's got the second best record in the Western Conference. I had a chance to spend some time with them last year behind the scenes as they were trying to reset their culture. The trade for Chris Paul and his experience, to have a guy that's a perennial all-star to go along with a sensational player in Devin Booker, who's another perennial all-star, should have made the all-star on the original team and not when Anthony Davis got injured. But you look at all of the development of their young players. DeAndre Ayton was suspended for the first 25 games last year. Mikal Bridges is coming on in his development. They signed Jay Crowder, who played in the finals last year with the Miami Heat. Mighty Williams could potentially be the leader in the clubhouse for Coach of the Year. So out of all of those teams, the Phoenix Suns, to me, have been the most impressive team.
It is up for grabs as we reach the halfway mark. Coach, breaking it down here on a Wednesday night. We thank you.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.